Dear brothers and sisters, thank you for your support and feedback during this past week. You could say that God is making sure that our church's theme this year of partnership in Christ is being put into practice. As a result of the change we had this past weekend in having our Sunday worship in house churches, the leadership was able to seek more input from disciples who are in the healthcare industry, hear your questions and concerns, as well as have the time to plan out a coherent strategy, one that is not based upon emotion nor any one person's decision. We take the physical health of everyone in our church seriously. Life is precious to God, and He makes this clear in Ephesians 5, which states that Christ loves the church the way that we love and care for our own bodies. God also says in 1 Corinthians 6 that our individual bodies are temples to the Holy Spirit. Our bodies are deserving of honor. Because of this, we want to have a strategy to protect the health and lives of the Christians in our church. We've decided to base our strategy upon the Ministry of Health's DORSCON framework. When DORSCON is at green, services and meetings of the body will continue as per normal. When DORSCON levels reach yellow, we will continue having our usual services and meetings, but with the following guidelines put in place. Number 1, those who are feeling unwell or have flu-like symptoms such as sore throat, fever, or cough are to stay at home. Seek medical help immediately. Number 2, those who have visited China are to quarantine themselves at home for 14 days, counting from the day of arrival in Singapore. Third, individually prepackaged communion bread and wine are to be taken during services. And fourth, temperature checks will be administered before entering the church building. We have purchased several new contactless thermometers. To minimize traffic entering the building, we encourage everyone to bring their own thermometer and do a self-check if there's a longer queue. Those who have a temperature of 38 degrees Celsius or above will be asked to return home and seek medical help. When DORSCON is at orange, we will take the following measures. Number 1, Sunday services will be in house churches, or what some of us like to call first century services. Midweeks and other meetings should be done in small group basis. Number 2, the 4 hygiene measures I mentioned earlier for yellow DORSCON levels should be put into place for these smaller meetings. For example, temperature checks should be done before visiting house churches or small groups. Number 3, those who are sick should inform both their zone leaders as well as their full-time ministry staff. This is so that we can trace community spread and base our decisions on more accurate information. When DORSCON level reaches red, we will ask people to stay at home. Refrain from meeting in social gatherings. Live streaming of sermons will be done via our social media and online sites so that people can still receive biblical guidance and instruction. As of today, 4th of February, DORSCON level is at yellow. As such, we will continue our midweek services and Bible discussions throughout this week and worship as a whole congregation this Sunday, the 9th of February. If there are any new updates from the Ministry of Health, we will follow the measures listed above. Brothers and sisters, while we put in the safeguards to protect the members of the church, we also need to make sure that our concern does not turn into worry or fear. After we've followed the necessary precautions, Jesus says in Matthew 6 that additional worrying cannot add a single hour to our lives. As I wrote in the sermon this past Sunday that was circulated to the house churches, Jesus takes how we treat other people very seriously. When we take care of those who are sick, Jesus says that we do it for Him. When we don't treat the sick well, it is as if we are treating Jesus unkindly as well. Let's not react with fear or disgust when we encounter people who are from mainland China, when we encounter healthcare workers, or when we encounter someone who's coughing or sneezing. One thing that I've encountered this past week is a wide spectrum of reactions to this virus spread. Some feel that we are being too cautious, while some feel that we are not doing enough. It's easy when we have such situations to view each other as being on opposing sides and start judging one another. One side accuses the other of being uncaring, while the other views the one as being weak in their faith. All such thinking is unfruitful at best and divisive at worst. What's needed is unity, dialogue, and prayer. God urges in Ephesians 4 to make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. To conclude, we've taken precautions and come up with a strategy, but the best strategy is still prayer. We want to encourage everyone to live by faith instead of being driven by fear. At the same time, let's not look down on others whose faith seems weaker than yours. Finally, let's use this time to show a little more grace, love, and concern to our fellow Singaporeans, as well as visitors from China and other countries. Thank you very much.